Focus is very much like a muscle. And just like you can develop muscles by exercising, focus can also be developed by repeatedly exercising it. Students ask me and they say, Swamiji, how do I develop the focus of my mind? When I sit with the book in front, my mind wanders off. I say, look, every time it wanders off, you bring it back. The more you do it, the more that muscle of focus will develop, and the better and better you will become.
You went to IIT and IIM, which are the most difficult institutions to get admission into, and many students aspire that. So if you would just share some advice for students on how to improve their focus on these studies to get the good grades so they get admission into their dream colleges, or here as they call it, the Ivy League colleges.
Shabnamji, you will not believe it, but if I tell you that you are asking the wrong person. I really did not study for admission into these institutes. My classmates would tell you I was not one of those studious people. And when I was in final year of school, my friends were filling up a form and I said, what is this? They said, it is about IIT, it's a good place, and that's the first time I came to hear of it. And I filled up the form and by God's grace I got selected. The same thing happened for admission to IIM as well. There was no preparation. But nevertheless, since you have asked, I would like to share a few tips for the students. The first is to understand that student life is only a preparatory stage. Many students make the mistake of thinking that this is my one opportunity to enjoy as much as I can. But later on, when they look back, the only thing that they will think is, how much did I utilize those years? And the one regret they will have is that I had this golden opportunity for knowledge, for personality development, and I did not utilize it to the hilt. So they should consider these as the best years for training themselves for the later life when they actually enter into the arena of life. The second tip I'd like to share for students is, of course, results are important, but they must enjoy the process as well. Because if it's all about just preparing some piece of knowledge and vomiting it out on the answer paper and seeing what my grades are, then it becomes a tremendous austerity. But if they start valuing the process itself and they try to enjoy the knowledge that they are cultivating, then their effort goes a longer way. Another tip that comes to mind is that respect for the teachers. Sometimes students have this mentality of making jokes about teachers, etc. That lack of reverence affects their own reception of the knowledge that they receive. And if they keep in mind that here is a person who has learned and practiced this subject for a whole lifetime, and that person is willing to share that knowledge with me, with that kind of attitude, if they receive knowledge, the process becomes enjoyable and they get much more out of it. And talking about focus, focus is very much like a muscle. And just like you can develop muscles by exercising, focus can also be developed by repeatedly exercising it. So when students ask me and they say, Swamiji, how do I develop the focus of my mind? When I sit with the book in front, my mind wanders off. I say, look, every time it wanders off, you bring it back. Every time it wanders off, you bring it back. The more you do it, the more that muscle of focus will develop, and the better and better you will become. So it's not just about the amount of time that you spend studying, but the quality of the time that you spend studying. So in a little time, you could cover a lot if the focus is there. And one last tip is, from my own experience, the morning hours are the best. When you wake up in the morning, your mind is empty. And at that time, if you absorb this knowledge, it goes really deep. And your focus is also great. That as you go through the day, the mind starts filling up with the world and it becomes that much of a struggle. I know nowadays the lifestyle is such that they study at night and sleep late in the morning. But if they can try out the other one, study in the morning.
It's more like a sponge. Your mind is more like a sponge in the morning.
Absolutely.
And you can absorb so much.